What about terpenes for chronic pain? We know about the dozens of terpenes found in the cannabis plant that are the ingredients on the palate that gives the plant its unique smell. And there's a well-known hypothesis called the entourage effect that suggests that the presence of terpenes can enhance the therapeutic actions of the cannabinoids. But not everyone knows that those terpenes themselves also can have their own therapeutic effects. This review out of Italy gives a roundup of the studies and available data, as well as this lovely little chart. For the top 6 terpenes that the researchers decided to cover, let's take a little walk through their mechanisms of action. First, we have myrcene, which is often known as the couch lock terpene. If you have any cannabis that is labeled indica and makes you feel very sedated, quite often what's actually causing that effect is the myrcene. As you can see here, myrcene uses several pathways, including modulation of the opioid receptors related to pain killing, as well as the TRPV1 vanilloid receptors. These are ion channels that regulate electrically charged particles to control the neuron's excitability. Less excitability means less possibility of firing and passing on those pain signals. This vanilloid system is so intertwined with our endocannabinoid system that anandamide, our first discovered endocannabinoid neurotransmitter, can also be classified as an endovanilloid. Myrcene also helps to regulate the protein kinases, which are enzymes involved in pain signal transmission, as well as the PPAR nuclear receptors, which are regulators of genetic transcription. So that means that myrcene can change the levels of your genes being translated to help lower pain. And finally, like most of these terpenes, myrcene also suppresses the cytokines that would otherwise be raising inflammation. Next is my personal favorite, beta-caryophyllene. This is the only terpene that's also a cannabinoid because it activates our CB2 receptors. These CB2 receptors are the ones found on almost all the cells of your body and are closely tied to your immune system and pain transmission. As you can see on the chart, beta-caryophyllene also modulates the opioid receptors as well as the neurotransmitter serotonin and GABA. GABA is the brain's most common inhibitory neurotransmitter, as in it lowers brain activity. This ability to lower GABA also leads to lowered pain signal transmission. Limonene, as you may guess, gives a smell to citrus. It also interacts with vanilloid channels, as well as the GABA, serotonin, and adenosine receptors. The adenosine receptors are also activated by caffeine, whose stimulating properties are known to help overcome pain. Pinene gives a smell to pine trees, and it works with most of the neurotransmitters present on this chart. It is also the only one that inhibits the enzyme acetylcholinesterase, which breaks down acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter at the junction between your muscles and your neurons, a key source of pain. Next, linalool gives a smell to lavender, a plant well known for its anti-anxiety abilities. Research has shown that less anxiety also leads to better pain control. Besides interacting with many of the neurotransmitters mentioned here, it also blocks the NMDA receptor. These are the ones activated by glutamate, the brain's most common excitatory neurotransmitter. These NMDA receptors are also a target of ketamine, one of the most exciting painkillers being researched right now. And finally, humulene, which comes from the hops plant. In a funny twist of fate, the hops plant, which is used to brew beer, is the only close relative of the cannabis plant. So, two of humanity's oldest plants used for psychoactive purposes are quite close cousins. Humulene both regulates genetic transcription by the PPAR receptors and suppresses those pro-inflammatory cytokines. As you can see, with the already well-studied ability of CBD and THC to lower pain, one can imagine the presence of these terpenes and the many biochemical tools they have to reduce pain would lead to cannabis being one of our species' oldest pain-killing plants. For more data, see the pain and inflammation page of CVResearch.info.